Hello. How's my audio? Let me know when you can see me. Can hear you, awesome. You should even get some nice like stereo separation effects so you can tell where in the kitchen I am. Cool. Let's start with a bit of preparation. So, as you can see, I have some stuff here I will go through. First important thing, tea. I'll need that later. What I have here is mostly been carried over from yesterday because I had the same thing for breakfast yesterday. That's how I tend to do it. And so we have an English muffin. Gluten, obviously, you could substitute this with whatever gluten substitute you want. Could just be bread or toast. I've just defrosted this. It's a bit hot. But something that we're going to toast to put your eggs on. And this is going to go straight in the toaster over here. And we're just going to leave that sitting in the toaster for now. That's going to be our egg timer. What else do we have here? I have half an avocado. I'm going to cut that bottom bit off, but it's otherwise fine. I ate the other half yesterday. We have some champagne leg ham. You could use other kinds of ham. You could use salmon if you want to be particularly fancy. You don't have to use it at all. This stuff works just fine. This is not sponsored by Primo. We have Hollandaise that I prepared yesterday and has been in the fridge. We're going to warm this up again. We have to be kind of careful about how we do this. If you want to know how to make Hollandaise, I can do that again. I can also do that at some other point. But for now, looking at this, what I used to use, which got me pretty far, was this stuff. It's just mild Hollandaise. Contains sunflower oil, water, white wine vinegar, glucose fructose syrup, free-range egg yolks, salt, butter, powder, modified cornstarch, acidity regulators, whey protein, cornstarch, acid, milk protein, preservative, flours, lemon juice, concentrate, thickeners, colors. Doesn't sound like it contains gluten, so that's potentially an option for you. I will say, not quite as nice as the stuff that you can make yourself, and this isn't all too hard to make, so long as you get the numbers right. And then, importantly, we have eggs. With us so far. The first bit of prep I'm actually going to do is I'm going to take my pot. I like using a stainless steel pot for this because it's much easier to tell when it's at the right temperature than anything that is dark on the inside, because the way we tell the temperature is by looking at the bottom of it and looking for bubbles, and that's nigh impossible I've found on anything that is non-stick or anything that is stoneware. So this is what I recommend. What I'm going to add to it is just some white vinegar. The amount of white vinegar I'm going to add is just enough to cover the base. So it's just like a splash, that much. Not sure if you can tell, it barely looks like there's anything in there. If you look closely, you can see like it's slowly getting to the edge. That's how much we want. Just enough to cover the base. All that's going to do, hopefully it's not going to flavor our eggs at all. What it will do is mean that as soon as the eggs go in, the outer protein of the egg white is going to denature quickly, and it's going to stop it like going everywhere. But that's all we're putting in there. And our saucepan for now. Any questions at this point? The next bit of prep we're going to do is just stick a bit of water in this bowl. Once again, not a whole lot, maybe a bit more than that. What we're going to end up doing with this bowl is we're going to be putting this Hollandaise in here. We're going to be filling the rest of that up with with boiling water. And then that's going to bring the Hollandaise back up to temperature. We don't want it to get too warm when we do that, otherwise it could break, which has happened to me on the rare occasion. So we're going to heat that up. Next thing, cracking some eggs. Nope, there's a nope. What's the nope in chat for? I swear there's like a 30-second delay on this. No questions. Cool. Great. Do not break your eggs on the edge of anything. That's a recipe for disaster. Do it on a flat surface. You're never going to have any issues. Get you a better angle for the next one. There we go. There we go. And we have some eggs that we're going to poach. Okay. What we should actually have doing at this point is we should get an entire we're going to get an entire kettle boiling instead of boiling water in our saucepan. This is just going to be faster. It's going to make a bit of noise though. Let me know if it gets too loud. Let me know if that's unbearable or it's making me hard to hear. It very well could. Okay, while that's going, I'm going to get my two most useful tools, which is this thing, which you can get at IKEA. I don't know what it's meant for. It's like a sort of mesh ladle thing, and a wooden spoon. Important thing is the mesh ladle also. Doop doop. And what we're going to do with the mesh ladle is, if you will, let that focus. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this ladle, my right hand, which is the open one. What this is going to do is going to let me strain out a bunch of the wispy shit. So I'm just going to like swirl it around there. What you can't see is a whole bunch of like the less well attached egg white coming out the bottom. And then we just stick it back in. Here we go, same thing with the other egg. And that's how eggs pretty much prepared. What is next? So we have the kettle going, and that's heating up our water. We're going to need to boil that twice. The first one's going to be for the saucepan to poach the eggs, and the second one is going to be to reheat our Reheat our Hollandaise and for our tea. Next up, just going to make some fun little things with our ham. This just means that when we're assembling everything later, we can do it more efficiently. What we're aiming for is we're going to put down the toaster, and then it's going to start our time. Immediately after that, we're going to put our eggs into the hot water. Whilst we wait for the toast to come back up, if we were making Hollandaise, that's where we would be using that time for Hollandaise prep. But at the moment, we don't really have too much we can do with that time. That's random. Let's look after this avocado. I'll show how much you can actually see there. It's very pointy, downy. And just as we do that, our water has come to a boil. So let's see if I can't frame this well. Wow, there is so much light in here. Anyway, so coming over to the stove, what I'm going to do is first I'm going to just dump the entire kettle in here. Get all the wonderful sounds of the kitchen. And put on some more water. And then I'm going to take the tile, I'm going to put it there, medium to low is more or less where it needs to go. And then comes the fun bit, where I fiddle around with the camera a whole bunch to get a good angle on the saucepan while it heats up. So not much is going to happen until then. Is this going fine so far? I know we haven't hit the interesting bit, but prep is important. It's how you make sure you don't screw things up. The kettle in the background isn't too bad. I'm still audible over it. This is pretty long. I mean, this is a nice, fairly chill thing to do of a weekend morning, which is why I do it literally every weekend morning. Everything up until this point is nice and relaxed. It just gets more tense and hurried when you get to the actual poaching part. So, important thing to do number one, tea. I maybe didn't put enough hot water in this. And that can go over here. And then this one we're just going to fill up. And what we're going to do with that is, as our eggs are poaching, we're just going to be mixing that to warm it up evenly. Stick a spoon in there. But now, we're ready for the fun part. This is the actual poaching bit. So, how do you know when your water is hot enough? I have this on the smaller of my two front burners. Coils, this is an electric stove. I have them, the smaller of my two front burners. I don't know if you can see, but there is a single bubble there. That's a good indicator. My main test for when I know that the water is hot enough is I take my wooden spoon and I drag it along the base. I'm not sure if you can tell there, but some bubbles have appeared right along the line that I dragged my spoon. So this isn't simmering, there are no bubbles really forming on their own. But if I take my wooden spoon and drag it along the bottom of the saucepan, you'll see some bubbles nucleate along that path. Perfect temperature. Which means this is ready to go. So, the egg timer starts going now. And when I say egg timer, I'm going to press the button on my toaster. When that toast comes up, I'm going to have enough time to put all of my stuff on the toasted muffins, and by the time I've finished putting all of the stuff that goes underneath, the eggs should be done pretty much perfectly. So let's start that. Now, I'm going to take my wooden spoon, big spin around the outside to get all of the water moving. We're going to create a well here. Get that going pretty quickly. Take our 2 eggs, and just drop them in, hopefully in the same direction that the water is spinning. I don't know if you can tell, but the egg yolks have managed to be fully encapsulated in white, which is what I'm looking for. I'm not looking for them to be too near the edge of the white, so that they don't have enough protection from the heat, and the yolks start cooking. We're going for runny yolks. But that to me looks like a pretty perfect egg drop. And then we're just going to leave that while the toast happens. The bubbles are very important. Bubbles know how you're doing it right. And then I'm just going to mix this together and have it slowly warm up. If you would like to know how to make Hollandaise, I can also do that at some point. Normally when I make Hollandaise, it uses up about 1 egg yolk, and that lasts me about 4 serves. So the part where I sieve the eggs before means they work better now. Yeah, it gets rid of all of the very loose egg white and the water that tends to just be surrounding the egg yolk. And if you don't get rid of that, you have a bigger chance of, when you dump the eggs in, getting strands of white clouding up the entire place. That sieve ladle thing, only thing it gets used for is doing that thing to the eggs. Oh, and that's the toast. Move this out of the way. So at the point where the toast comes up, you can probably get away with, you probably want to turn off your stove. So I've just turned off the stove there. And now I'm going to start smothering this in avocado. Sometimes what I'll do with the avocado is smash it up with lemon and salt. And that gets you something a bit more spreadable and pasty, and that's, if you're doing that, you would have been mashing that together whilst the toast was down, so you could just spread it on now. But overlay, my avocados have been soft enough that I can more or less spread them as is. I tend to only go to the extreme of mashing them up when they are less spreadable. This one has hardened up in the fridge a bit overnight. A bit hit and miss. Yep. Let's get some of you over here. Oh no! Okay, okay. And then because we have the ham just here, that goes on top. Bring our eggs over to here. When I take my eggs out, I'm going to test the yolks. This goes right under. This one's still a bit watery, needs a bit more time. This one is also a bit watery, but that might just be the... It needs more time. I'm going to turn the stove back on. I'm sure you know how you like your eggs. You can sort of figure out how to test for doneness. Go back to mixing up our Hollandaise. Incidentally, the amount of time it takes to do this is also roughly the amount of time it takes for my tea to brew. I have basically worked out this process so that everything comes together just at the right moment. Let's see how these are now. It's amazing what a difference a few seconds can make. Yeah, that's perfect. Got some jiggle there that's going to continue cooking a bit, actually. It's picked up a bunch of water. It's going to continue cooking just there. And this one also I think it's picked up a bit of water. I think the yolks have ended up a bit on the jammy side. I swear it's like all of 10 seconds difference between runny and jammy. Turn off our tools. Turn off our stove. And meanwhile I have been preparing the Hollandaise. Get rid of that out of frame. And this is the fun part, this is the part where we can do the drizzle. Actually, I should dry off the bottom of this first. You don't get that with store-bought Hollandaise. That is It's more or less how you do it. Let's put it back in the fridge. Ah, yes. Milk and tea. Okay. Moment of truth is the final shot. I can only get this so low. Dope. Will it ooze? Yes. Oh, look at that. There we go. And that's how I do my eggs of a morning, of a Saturday or Sunday morning. I will stick a photo in the chat. Does that sort of cover everything that you were hoping? As I said, if you'd also like to know how to do hollandaise, it's not too hard. You just need some lemon, butter, salt, pepper, and an egg yolk. And I can cover that, but it's fairly straightforward. You just need a tiny whisk, a ramekin, or something of that size, and a stick blender. And you can get some pretty good hollandaise. I'm going to start eating breakfast. But thanks for following along.